Hello guys, welcome back, and in this video I want to share ideas on how I am currently optimizing a Laravel Bootstrap application. So this is an application that we developed quite some time back, but later we find that it is not suiting the user expectation. So the user are used to SP application, things like Vue, React, and they're used to fast application, and currently they are using, a Bootstrap application, and they are quite frustrated because it's reloading. Every time you submit data, you validate data, the page loads, and they're not quite happy with the experience. And so we are tasked to optimize this application and make it as fast as we can, without necessarily utilizing the front-end technologies such as React, Vue, Angular, and whatever. So these are the approaches that we took, or we are currently using in order to optimize this application. And if you find them interesting, if you find them beneficial, kindly let me know, and also leave your comment with anything that I can utilize in order to improve this Laravel and Bootstrap application. So number one was to use eager loading. I noticed that when we are writing this application, nearly every place we had not used eager loading. And when you study Laravel documentation, you know that this is a huge problem in performance because a lot of queries will be run when getting data from the database. So I loaded data, and everywhere I'm using relationship. And this by just doing that alone, I was able to cut down the number of queries per page to around 10 or to around 12 at most, from things like 100 queries, 60 queries, 80 queries per page, which was quite fantastic. The second technique that I was able to use is caching. I also noticed that in many pages we are just getting data that is not readily used by users, and it is not oftenly used by users of the application. And so what I did is that I was able to implement caching to cache this data, so that every time the user hits these endpoints or these pages, the data is readily available, and the application does not have to go back again to the database to get this data. So that was the second way I was able to improve the performance of this application. The third way was to use queues. And if you haven't heard of queues, kindly check it out. I love using queues in my Laravel application because they are proven to be very, very wonderful. Yeah, so I noticed that in the application, there are many places whereby we were using, or rather doing some heavy computational work, such as importing CSV, exporting CSV data, performing some very complex logic, and data was this code was just there happening, synchronously. So every time the user will hit this page, he will have to wait like 10 seconds, 20 seconds for things to happen behind the scene before he gets a response, which was quite a very, very bad design. All right. So what I did was move a lot of these code and snippets into queues, so that every time the user hits this page, this thing will just happen behind the scene, but he'll get a response. And then by the time we move to the next step, the computation or the logic will have been over with. And now to my favorite part, on utilizing, or rather on optimizing the front end of this application. That was, we just sat down and discussed, and we were thinking of ideas on how to rather optimize the front end of this application without using front end technologies such as Vue, React, Angular. Because time was also very short, and we needed to do this as fast as possible. So the thing that we agreed upon was to utilize Livewire. So Livewire, if you don't know about Livewire, is a wonderful technology whereby you create single page application, high performance application without leaving the comfort of your Laravel development application. So you are still in Laravel, but you're optimizing your application to be very fast, to respond to users requests very fast, to load pages. Single page application is just a wonderful technology. Since I started working with Livewire, I just fell in love with the technology. It's just really a wonderful technology. And lastly, I was just doing some quite over research, and I happened to land on Octane, Laravel Octane, which is a new technology that enables you to run parts of your application concurrently. All right. So if you have ever used Octane, kindly let me know in the comments and let me know how it improved your application. And also, I got something interesting in the internet while doing this research, and also was presented by one of the presenters in the LaraCon, the latest LaraCon event. And this was the Sparty is known as Sparty package. Spotify package also allows you to run application concurrently. And I installed this application, but I wasn't able to run this application because currently I'm using Windows, and this thing required, if I can remember, is I believe is PCNTL, which is I believe it's an extension for the Unix systems. Yeah, so I wasn't able to run this application, but I believe this package is really wonderful the way it is described and the way many people gave comments and recommendation about it. So I that is something that I also be able to check out later. So guys, these are the techniques that I use to improve the application and make it as fast as I could. So let me know what you think of these techniques and any way I can be able also to improve on these techniques. Thank you, bye bye, and happy coding.